So you remember we said this rock, humongous rock, is just held into the air with a very small rocks, and it's very steady and very strong in that place that not even the wind can topple that rock down. Not even the strongest wind ever can topple that rock down. That is from what the locals say, because it has been there for all those years. All those years it has been there. And the curious me had to go down. No, you see, that's a toothbrush someone left over there maybe. Curious me had to go down and slip down there and just try it off. Mr. Rock, can you follow me? Follow me, Rock, follow me. But did not, and I gave myself an example of David with a sling, ready to kill Goliath. And Goliath. There are rocks inside here. Goliath, don't come over here. I will kill you. I will just have one strong halted on your head and you'll be down completely, Mr. Goliath. So don't dare me. Yeah, that's how I was telling my problems. Don't dare me. I will get you down as soon as possible. But it was a very good place to be. And yeah, I ask many people to guard themselves there. You can guard yourself there and try to see whatever happens there. It's such a beautiful place to be. Naturally beautiful place to be. And I feel that's the reason why most of the people find it so conducive for them to go there for prayers, because there is no a lot of noise. First of all, it's much higher, so even when people make noise down, you cannot hear the noise from up. Yeah, when people do their noise from down, you cannot hear the noise from up. So from up there, you just you and God. And I made another joke. The higher you go, the closer you come to God. Maybe that's another theory that they're using up there. But that is not theologically right. It's not theologically that the higher you go, the closer you become to God. No, that is not theologically right. But that is it. And there is this humongous stroke again. It has a head and a main body. Whatever you think about that, that's none of our business. I did not say that. And down there, there are people who are praying there. And as usual, the curious me, I had to go and see whatever is happening there. I had to go and see whatever is happening. And with us, there were some other young people who had also came. For them, they came not to pray, but for adventure. And yeah, of course, we need to know more. And they look like they're the locals. We had to ask them a few questions. And some of them were like, do we know you? Or what? Should we say something or not? And all of a sudden, they started talking. And down there are still small caves, spaces that are small spaces that are left in between the rocks. I don't want to say that these ones were made by human hands. No, they were not made by human hands. It's not possible for a human hand to do all that work inside there. I know some of those rocks looks like they were broken together by human hands, but I'll tell you, no, with what I saw, they were not broken by human hands. And the way those rocks support each other, that is not a work of human hands. Or maybe it's an angelic work, or an alienic work, or work done by angels, or work done by aliens, because those rocks are too big to be held. Some of those rocks are taller, like 4-story buildings, higher, like 4-story buildings, very high, like 4-story buildings. And these guys started telling us some stories about some of the caves that we never knew exist, but they have visited those caves. And over there, showing us another cave that's on the other side. We will get ourselves there and you will see that cave. It's the very cave that I said it's inside the rock, completely inside the rock. So that rock is very tall, like a 5-story building, and precisely cut, and I mean precisely cut. Very small space left in between for people to enter and leave. And I don't know which kind of aliens I think that not human beings, aliens could have fit in that space very well, but they are human beings who feel themselves there. And the human beings who feel themselves, they are not small are not huge human beings, but they are slender human beings like me. Yeah, we don't say we are thin, we say we are slender. And he's telling us what happens all around over there, and the stones and the rock that you're seated on. It kind of looks like an alien spacecraft, by the way, an alien spacecraft, and you'll see it. It looks like an alien spacecraft. So there's a cave there that we will get ourselves in that cave, and you get to see whatever happens in that cave down there. But let me introduce you to the first alien spacecraft found in Bungoma. Yes, that is where I sat, sitting on the alien spacecraft. Look at it. It's completely an alien spacecraft. No one can convince me either way. Like, how did that thing land there in a very well precision? And I was waiting for that thing to start flying and take me to the aliens. You see how it is. It looks like an alien spacecraft that landed there, and I was waiting for it to start moving. I don't know what digits I could have dialed in for it to light up and start taking me to where it came from, because I really wished it could do that. But those rocks are very, very huge. I said they're like 5-story building, tall like a 5-story building, and very huge, uh, very, very, very massive. And because we were told there is a cave down there, and the curious me, because that is what I came to find out. I had to go inside that cave and see what is inside that cave, and that is us in the cave. That is us in the cave. It's very cool. The winds, the breeze inside the cave is very cool. It's a place that you'll want to just sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. And yes, there are human activities inside that cave, meaning there are guys who come on this mountain to pray. And when it starts raining heavily, or when the sun is too hot for them, they hibernate in that cave, or they hide themselves in that cave to run away from the harsh conditions, harsh weather conditions. That is the rain and all that. But down there, you will see there's a lot of waters. And the something that was so much dominant was the triangle shape. You see, we met the first triangle shape on the other cave that I went in, and even in this cave, you can still see that triangle shape down there. The entrance, the exit, because there are two. There's an entrance and exit. You can enter from either side, so you can see that. And it does in the direction that the wind comes, the water comes from, by the way. And over there, I told you the space is too big that it can fit over. Roughly 30 people can stay there. Roughly 30 people can, it can sustain 30 people can stay there. They can sleep there if it's not raining. At least 30 people can sleep there. So it's a very massive space that is left between two rocks. One rock held by other small rocks, and then held by another bigger rock, leaving that space. And that is what the natives will call caves. Okay, let's call it caves because that is what they call it. But to me, that one did not look like a cave, like what I was imagining a cave. It was like a man-made cave, well done and all that. That is what came to my mind, like those ones that you leave when you are digging, mining. So that's the cave that I thought maybe I'll get over there. Yeah, and it looks so beautiful inside there. Yeah, seeing whatever's happening. There's a lot of soot on those stones. I said earlier, human activities on that stone, this stone over here. You can see some leftovers, things of that kind, and then it's very sooty, very sooty. And that one, it's not the work of the water. The water doesn't make the rocks look so sooty. So probably, maybe our ancient fathers ever lived in those caves. I'm not so sure about that, but yes, I'm convinced that our ancient fathers lived in that cave. Or aliens lived there and they were cooking food to eat. Maybe they would trade human food. Though we did not see any bones, human bones that are found there to say that truly there are some people who live there. But maybe if we go back there, we're going to find those people over there. So the evidence that there's a lot of rain and the people sleeping, you see, these are people sleepovers, remains of people's clothing who were on that day praying over there on that mountain. And that's the algae. Yes, that's the algae. And that is the real evidence that water flows inside that cave or that space. Yeah, water flows inside there. So what about those people who sleep there when it's raining? How do they cover themselves? Okay, you see, there's another space where we are seated, which is much higher. Maybe those guys sleep over there. They sleep over there. Not maybe, yes, they sleep over there because we saw some other pieces of cloth that are over there. Then over there are guys who are praying on the other end, and I said, wow, 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 I must show you these guys. I must steal an image of them without them knowing, because I was not so sure if they will accept to be videoed. I'm a videographed. And there we go. And over here we find a group of 4 women with 1 child, and it's like they had prayed and prayed and they were tired, and now they're just going through the scriptures. And who am I? Who am I? I'm still that man of God who encourages people, and I go and ask them, oh, you guys, you here, what have you been praying for? Let me tell God to answer your prayers. Don't know if they saw me as an angel. I don't really know. But again, I started praying that God will bless you, God will see you through. It doesn't matter what you guys are going through. And I remind them the journey of Abraham and Isaac, going for Abraham going to give Isaac as a sacrifice on a hill like this. Abraham making an altar, after making an altar, laying Isaac on it, and when he was just about to do away with Isaac, yeah, God provided. And I was telling this little girl, no, God will provide for you. And she said she has an eye problem. That is what she came to pray for, and she feels that God should. And I told her, don't worry, that one is already answered. God has answered you, and those eyes will never ever have a problem with you. You never have a problem with those eyes again, because you've been healed. Because on the mountain of the Lord shall provide. I use the phrase on the mountain of the Lord shall provide, because that is what they believe, that on that mountain, God answers their prayer. And on the other side, we left others who are so much louder, by the way. They were praying so loud on the other side, and we said, we are not going there. But that place looked like a natural church, a very flat platform on the top of the mountain. And it's like, is that a place where those angels meet to do their meeting before they go down to place these people down there, just on the slopes of that hill? But again, we had no answer, and we can't guess. Or is it a place where the aliens could meet and do their meetings as they invoke the names of their deities up there to come and take them? Like, was it a landing pad of those aliens and all that? Because it was very much flat and all that. I wish you guys could have seen that. So if you need to see that, you need to go there. And with that, they told us there are the two last caves that we need to look at. And who are we? Who are we? Who is Alan's team? Yeah. We had to go there. We had to go there and see those caves. So that is us going, still, traversing all those rocks, walking in between those rocks that are well arranged, like the roads are have naturally positioned themselves, the rocks in between. So we need to go back beyond the other rock and see the caves that these guys are talking about. And there are very many people around, those who have been praying and they're tired, they're just relaxing, maybe thinking of going back home or waiting on God to see God answer their prayers. I don't know, like that young guy over there sitting on that rock. And we told him, don't worry, bro, your prayers have been answered. Don't worry, your prayers have been answered. And we just left. As we continue to go through, those guys who are following me are the guys. Remember the two guys that we said we found them there doing the adventure. This suddenly became our guide throughout that. So this is the space in between. There are two huge rocks, and this space is very, very, very precisely carved, precisely cut, and there's a very small space that only slim people like me can go. And it reminded me of what we usually say, the way to heaven is narrow and the way to hell is, that's that phrase that people use. So I said, it's only me, people of my size, who can go through that. People of my size who can go through. If you're huger than me, probably you can't fit in that, so you might not be going to heaven unless you become slim like me. That's a joke, by the way, not theologically right, that's a joke. So the space is very small, by the way, very small. It can only fit people like me. But again, the height of those rocks is like a four-story building. It's very, very long, and the space in between is precisely cut. It's like there are people who are measuring the space in between and cut it precisely. I don't know which tools they were using to cut it. Tools that they were using to cut it precisely. All that it still convinces me maybe this is more of an alien job. It convinces me with measuring this with those stones that are used to construct the Egyptian pyramids and all these pyramids around the world. They were so huge. Those stones, they have never known who are carrying all those rocks, because there are tons and tons of rocks. They don't know who are carrying them to bring them to that point. And even this one, I don't really know who might have carried all these rocks to bring them over here. And I had to show them how they really look like. And that is how they looked like.
Stairs zikifanya nini? Zikienda. Then ukiangalia huko juu ni rock kubwa kabisa. You see those rocks? They form like a stairs. Zile ziko pale mbele. Ina form kitu kama stairs zikienda huko mbele. Unaziona hizo? Zikipanda huko juu. So it's very much interesting, by the way. Very much interesting. Very much interesting. But you'll allow me to come out now because Niko na wenzangu hapa.
Yeah, I told you those rocks are very tall, like a 4-story building over there. And I told you that was on our way to the next mystery or the next miracle, natural miracle, the next mystery. We were told where we are headed to, you can only get there if you've sanctified yourself. You can't be there without sanctification. And obviously, where these people are, you find all these things. So it was so strange to find this writing. That's a hashtag AM. That's sometimes like a tie and then a drip and paints, then copyright 2025. I don't know what that meant. So we had to leave it. Again, I was shocked. Why should people come and write such a thing over there? Then I'll see animal activities over there. Some cow dung, meaning there were some cows that came to feed from there. That came not who that came to feed from there. And walking along now, next it's where they said before you get yourself there, you must sanctify yourself. And I don't know why. Is it the reason why there is that another small bush that looks like the burning bush? And I really expected the bush to start burning so that I can be the Moses of these guys. Those guys ran away and I'll be talking to God in that burning bush. But again, the bush did not burn. Yeah, the bush did not burn. So okay, we talked, and this guy could have run away if the bush could have started burning, but they stayed, and the bush did not burn. So this is where they said, now before you enter, you must sanctify yourself. And where am I? I'm forever sanctified by the blood of Jesus. I'm forever sanctified. That said, yeah, you guys are afraid because you feel maybe you've sinned and you cannot get yourself in there. But for me, I'm forever sanctified by the blood of Jesus. So I'll get myself here and see whatever happens inside this rock. And again, these are very, very, very huge rock. That's one. This is the rock that I told you. It's like a 5-story building. From down, that's the height. 5-story building, and it's very huge. It's very tall and very huge. In that space, it's so much precise. A very small space, and you can see the place is also sooty. It's also sooty, and I don't know who came up with that. One thing that I did not was not much keen on to looking into was if there are symbols on the rocks, something of the writings on the rocks. I was not so keen to look into that. But next time I go there, I promise you, I'll check all that stuff on those rocks and come and give you precise information and all the reality about all this stuff. So this guy was telling me, anyone who goes inside that rock and you've not sanctified yourself, what will happen to you is you either get mad, you leave that place when you're mad, or you not come out of that cave. So now this is the cave I told you. It's inside the rock, like there's no exit, there's only one entrance, and the entrance is where we are standing now. You see me laughing. I'm laughing because it kind of felt scary, but again, I just got a sudden courage. It's like I'm gonna go inside. And going inside there, it's like, what really happens there? And say, the space is huge enough to hold 5 people. The space inside is huge enough to hold 5 people. And the more you go in, the more it expands. Have you ever heard of that before? With another holy site. And this place is the most holy place on that whole mountain. You see all those other places, caves that we visited, there's none of those caves that they said that you need to sanctify yourself before you enter. But this is the only place you have to sanctify yourself before you enter, meaning you have to let go all your sins and enter if you're holy enough. And that is why I had to give away my bags. Like that was another extra luggage that could be more weight, not to allow me to be light enough to allow me to go inside there. So I had to give it out for someone to hold it for me. And this young man did a very good job, by the way. He explained most of the things to us, giving us a given understanding on this thing. And the curiosity in me, the curious me had to try this out. So I started going in. I'm going in, I'm going in, I'm going in. I want to see what is that they're hiding in here. So I had to go in. But before I go in, I had to, like, guys, do you think I'll come out? If I go in, do you think I'll come out? And they'd be like, we don't know, but those who went in usually come out. Those who go in usually come out. So I gave myself a try. I gave it a try to go in. And that is me going in. Going in, going in as you peep around, 'cause you got me something that you don't know. But it was too dark inside, and I don't have a light to light it way. You see, that's how tall that rock is. In that space, by the way, that's the only entrance. There's no exit. Like the other caves that we saw, we had an entrance and exit. But this one, there's no entrance and there's no exit. And it's believed when you go in the middle of that rock does expand. So that's mystical, magical. It's mystical, very much magical. So I had no enough lighting to get myself there because it was my first time. But they say those who are used to going inside there, they don't need lights. They just get themselves inside there. But there are those who go with candles. There go those who go with torchlights and all that. But for me, I had to come back because looked somehow scared, so I had to come back. And they are, I've tried, I've done what other people have never wanted to try. So I was, I'm that guy. Yeah, I'm that guy. Look at me here. I've done something that most of the people are afraid of doing for the first time. Like I've broken my own history. But after all, we still have to leave that place and go. So going for the last cave, last two caves, and then there's those guys. So they done their stuff, their drip culture. I don't know what that really means. Maybe next time we go, they will ask those guys who did that to explain to us what drip culture means. Maybe they can explain to us. So we get over there, other rocks, another smaller cave, couple of smaller caves, well done again. Well done. Rocks just lying on each other in a very precise manner. It's like someone was arranging them that way. And it's like those guys who do geography will tell you studies of rocks and stones, who don't believe that there is God, that things are done by God, tell you that billion years ago there was a lot of sand here, and due to erosion, the sand was eroded, and these rocks were left the way they are. And be like, okay, the earth has not been in existence for those billions of years that you're talking about. So which earth are you talking about? Okay, let's leave that one alone. Those are the guys who don't believe in the creation story. They don't believe that God created everything is. So we can't argue with them on that. We just leave them to think whatever they want to think, because that is what they believe. That's what they believe, that things work that way. Yeah, hold on. That's what they believe, but that is not whatever happened over here. So it was so beautiful over there. And yes, the curious me, I just have to go there. I just have to go there. I must get myself there. Yeah, and that is me. That is me. That is me there. And just enjoying, felt something pinching me, and I had to check it out. But it looked so nice to be in that space over there. And someone was spraying down there, so I was like, who is this spraying over there? Yeah, there was someone who was spraying there so loudly. And I was to hear, like, who's that? Yeah, who's that? It was so beautiful. Everything was just cool, calm. So far, we had not met any wild animal like a snake or anything to scare us out, and it was just cool, getting there. And then there's that another very small cave there. That one can hold at least 5 people there again, who can hide there from natural weather conditions like rain and very bad rain and very bad sunlight, very tough sunlight. So there, and that guy goes on the other end, and I was afraid, should I follow him or not? Are you sure you're giving me the right direction? I said, no, I'm not gonna follow you. I don't just follow people, but I like people to follow me, because if I take you somewhere, I'm taking you to a place where I'm so sure you get out of. If you won't get out of that, I'll fight my way out and give you space for you to leave. And that is us to the last cave now. And when walking there, they reminded me of something. They told me, this is the 5th person telling me now, if you dare come here with your boyfriend and boyfriend and girlfriend coming over there, either to pray or just to walk on that mountain for adventure, be sure that you guys will leave each other as soon as you descend the mountain. As soon as you descend that mountain, you guys will leave each other. And I was asking why. And I asked a question, what if those who came to pray that God should bless their union why should they descend and they separate from each other? They said, yeah, they've had experiences of their peers or older people than them who had that experience. They went up with their girlfriends, they went down, and that was the end. And they said, okay, what about those who came? You just came to pray for a wife, and that woman came to pray for a husband, and the two of you meet on that mountain. Will you guys again separate when you listen? They said, no, that one's a special case. You won't separate. In fact, that marriage will live longer. And I joked and said, it's easy. It's just, if you just want to separate with your girlfriend, you don't want a lot of wahala and hulabalos over here and there. You just tell him or her, let's go on the mountain and pray. Let's go on that mountain and pray. And once you pray and you go down, it will be done. It will be over with the two of you. A very simple way of separation. Very simple way of separation. Very simple separation. But they did not say a wife and a husband. They said girlfriends. Yeah, and then we revisit that place again because it's a very good place for me to be. Yeah, I pray it was a very good place for me to be. And you can also visit the place. It's not a bad place for you to visit. You can visit the place because it was a very good place. You can revisit the place. It was a very good place. Then that is us headed to the last point of the caves. That was us headed to the last one cave. And you know what? Towards that place, the guys who are leading us the guys who are leading us, the guys who are leading us to the last cave, they saw a snake. You see that small boy ahead with a black t-shirt? He saw a snake, and he did not really seem like scared at any point. He just continued moving, and to me, I was so much scared. And he told me, "You've seen a snake." Oh, so he started explaining to us what that entails and what that means and all that. But it wasn't that much scary. He encouraged us and told us, no, there's nothing bad about that. It's gone and it won't come back. So we had to continue moving to the next cave down there. And yes, we went. That is that is the rock. I told you that rock is too tall. It's like a 5-story building. Very, 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 very tall. It's a rock on another rock. I don't know how that one happened. It's very, 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 very tall. It's like a 5-story building. And now the cave that we were entering on the other end with that small dark path is inside this rock. That is where the cave is. It's inside the rock. The cave that I said, remember I said there's a cave that has an entrance but has no exit. It is inside that rock. I don't know what those aliens could have been doing there. I don't know. Don't really know. Don't really know. But I even I thought maybe those bigger caves are maybe two families used to stay there, and then those other small caves were the caves for the siblings of that two big families. A man who had two wives, then one wife in the other cave, then another wife in the other cave, then those two, the other many other small caves were for the children, the boys, the sons of that man. Maybe I don't know. That's the theory. So we see him now explain to us about the snake that he saw. He said it was not that small. It was big, but not big, not that small. So I don't know how many meters that was and how many centimeters that was. But he was trying to encourage us to tell us, let's move on. I told him, bro, you can't convince me to move on with that. You said you saw a snake. I don't like snakes. I would rather face lions and kill them because you know what? Samson did kill some lions. And I can kill some lions. And I believe David might have killed some too. So let's go on. With lions, I can face lions and kill lions. But a snake, even Adam failed to kill the one that lied to Eve. So I don't know why. But so you can't get me into that. I'm scared. But he told me, don't worry. That snake told me about the senses of the snake. It can know whether you're coming to harm it, then it will attack you. And that you also know if you're peaceful, it will just let you go and it goes its way. That theory doesn't really work for me because I've never had it before, but we still had to continue. So that is us listening to him. Yeah. Listening to him. Saying, don't worry, everything is okay. Just relax. Yep.
kuna fighting na flight, so hiyo inajua pia hiyo itajua kwa harufu ya maybe jasho ama nini, itajua either utafight ama utaflight. Pia itaweza flight
Ama
na
ifight.
ikiona ifight. So kiamua ni kufight defend. Na pia
Do you
itajidefend.
think you're convincing me? Siendi. No, watch it. Let the last game be. I'm not going there.
Yeye imeenda huko.
Na ikiona itokea huko mbele.
Haiwezi. Mpande hivyo juu. Ndio hii hapa hivi.
Na imetoka kwa hiyo game.
Hapana, imekuwa hapa.
Imekuwa somewhere. So I'm totally convinced, but let's ask ourselves a question. Ni ile nyoka yenye ilidanganya Eva, but hapa hakuna mti. We don't have a tree. We don't have a tree. Ama imeenda kweli mti. By the way, nyoka, we are not Eve, we are Adam, so we have control, dominion. We have dominion over it. You can't control us. Wacha nikiongea vibaya ukiongea. So this is the last cave. This is our last cave.
Boarding the flight, our last flight landed us in the last cave. I would say now this was the biggest cave. This was the biggest cave, again, bigger than the rest of the caves that we had seen around that hill or that mountain. Again, human activities. You can see pieces of cloth around, a lot of grass around, and I want to believe that grass is what people laid down as they were sleeping. Yep, again. That one could hold over, again, 20 people. If they're just sleeping there, they can hold over 20 people. And that cave has compartments. It has compartments like a bigger room. So it's like maybe where we are is the sitting room. Then there are other rooms down there. And I was afraid to go there because I was not so sure if we can't find, now that we met first a snake on the other end, I was not so sure if you can't find a mother snake over here. And imagine us meeting meeting a mother snake inside here. Am I strong enough to fight it? No, I don't even have a gun to shoot it. So, bro, I don't want to risk. I don't just want to risk. So we had to stay cool and stay where we were and not really wish to go down there. Though this young guy was very much curious that he wanted us to go and check whatever is inside there. But I was afraid. And because I'm the lead of this mission, I don't want to lose anyone. I don't want to lose anyone on the mission. That is me. If I'm leading a mission, I don't want to lose anyone on that mission. I would rather be the one remaining, but not the people that I went with on that mission. And I told him, no, we're not going there. We're not going there. And that's an order. You must obey. Yeah. Sergeant Alan has said, you must obey. Or is it Captain Alan has said, you must obey. We're not getting ourselves there. Yeah, so that is it. Had some stories.
Nilikuwa naleta mabeshto wangu maybe wenye wametoka huko home. Mafresha maybe. Ama kuna vile tunaweza jisikia tu tumeboeka plot na kuja kutembea huko. Nakuja tunatulia kama tumekuja hapa asubuhi tumetulia tu.
Mmekuja huko asubuhi?
Yeah.
Mmetulia mpaka saa hii. Saa hii tunaelekea saa ngapi? Saa 9, 10. Saa 9.
So nature ya huko iko cool. At least hata kama uko na mashida, hata kama hujaomba.
Uko tu sawa.
Yani hiyo tu refreshment na nini, hiyo baridi ya huku na kwa utulivu maybe. Maybe hata wakiomba huko maombi yako pia inaweza sikika maybe.
So kuna wase wanakujaga tu kuja tu kutulia, si watu wanakuja kuomba.
Yeah, for adventure.
Just for adventure.
Yeah.
You take photos then you go back.
Take photos, go back.
Lakini umesikia wase wakisema okay, msemaji amekuja huko akaomba maombi yake imejibiwa. Maybe among your friends.
Interact nao wenye wamekuja huko wakiomba.
But unasikianga tu ukikuja kuomba maombi yako itajibiwa.
Yeah.
That is what most of the people around here know.
Yeah. Hadi nimeambiwa huko juu. Watu wanatoka hadi Nairobi. Kuna nywako huko juu wametoka Webuye. Wanakuja kuomba hapa hivi. Wanakaa hapa hivi, wanaweza kaa muda hata siku 3, wiki moja.
Kukinyesha unakuja unajificha kwa hizi
kukinyesha. Hadi mimi mvua ishanipata nikakaa cave fulani huko juu. Kukinyesha naingia kwa caves. Ikifika usiku wamekuwa na lights. Malika, I think
So we were not shocked to learn that, because we expected these are people come from different places around Kenya. There are those from Nairobi, there are those from wherever they've come to pray, because there was a word that was said that on this hill, the prayers that are made on this hill are answered by
I think
God.
huko kila mtu
The
amekuja
natives believe so.
kutembea kivyake.
So people are coming from different places, they're coming over here to pray because
Ile
they
siku
want their
unajisikia
prayers to be
kupumzika,
answered.
utapumzika.
And
Ukiona
that
unaweza
one did
amka
not shock me,
anytime,
because it's the very thing that
unaweza
brought us over
kuomba.
here, not to pray that our prayers be answered, but to try to
Yeah, for
understand,
those
is it true?
prayer warriors, you're thinking that you're looking for a
Unfortunately,
place to
we
have
did not
women
get
pray,
many people,
a
apart from
place
the
where
group
you
of those
feel
women that we saw
so
there.
good
By
and
that
so
time, there were
nice,
not very many people there
a
praying,
very
apart
good
from that
breeze,
group of women that we saw there.
very good
But we are still
it's
convinced
very cool.
that what they say happens
Jua ikiwa
here
kali
maybe
unakuja unajificha
happens.
kwa
We
mawe
made a
hivi.
prayer too,
Then
and
your
we
place
hope.
is
I made a
Sangalo.
prayer
Naona hii.
personally.
This
I
is the
hope
place.
maybe
Ya kuomba.
it will be answered or
But
not,
as for now,
but I expect it to be answered.
it has been your
If it is
presenter
answered,
Alan
I will tell
Hoi,
you. If it won't be
ALO
answered
Hoi
again,
TV.
I will
You
tell
know
you.
the
But
drill.
one thing,
Very
all in
simple.
all, I
Subscribe.
believe
You
God
need to
can
get
answer our prayers at any
if
given
you need to
point,
know and
wherever
get
you are. You
understanding
don't need to get
faster,
yourself to a higher
full
mountain for you
information
to
from the
pray,
net.
therefore God to
Alan
bless
Hoi is the
or
way.
answer your
Alan Hoi
prayers
TV is the way.
immediately. You just need to believe and have faith. That's what Jesus said.
Tumeshoka.
Even if you have the faith as little as
So,
a
yeah.
mustard seed, wherever you ask for in prayer, God will answer it. And that is what we know, and that's what we should believe in as Christians. So far, so good. That was our journey on Sangalo Hills. If you like it, do comment and please subscribe, share, and make sure that this information reaches anyone else, and tell us where next you want us to get ourselves to. Which story do you want us to talk about next? And we will do that, because ours is to bring all these stories together for you and make you understand what happens around. Thank you so much. It has been your host, Alan Hoy.